But Bigfoot's fun because there's native stories that go back a long time that talk about these giant creatures covered in hair, but they lived interdimensional. So it's like you're not going to go find them because they can just phase into a different dimension.
It's a fucking squirrel. What the fuck is wrong with me? What the fuck is wrong with me?
Shoot it.
Yeah. It's like people see what they want to see.
Yeah.
And the problem is you get something into someone's head, a mythological thing, whether it's a UFO or whether it's Bigfoot. I think the world is way more slippery than we like to think. And I think there's states of consciousness that people can achieve during high anxiety levels, definitely during the use of psychedelic drugs.
Yes.
Sometimes during weird states in their life, like near-death experiences, loss of a loved one, extreme emotion,
Yeah.
a lot going on, a lot of anxiety and fear, like you would have if you're in the woods.
Sure.
And then
You're on edge.
you see a light across the sky. It might have been just a meteorite.
Right.
But you're in the wrong headspace to
Yeah.
see that meteorite. And you just freak. You just freak.
Yeah.
And maybe for a brief moment, you can see something that's been there all along.
It was a normal night aboard the train running along the US-Canada border in the 1880s. It was traveling through a forested area in the middle of nowhere, and George, an engineer, was going about his nightly duties when suddenly the train stopped. It had hit something, which the men thought to be a moose, and the cowcatcher on the front was bent out of shape and dragging on the tracks. Taking their lanterns, they were shocked to find the body of a large, incredibly smelly, ape-like creature with a human face caught in the metal. It was estimated to be about 8 feet tall and 500 pounds, as it took 6 strong men to haul the creature into the woods. It took them 2 hours to bend the cowcatcher back into working order, and as they did, they saw Native Americans moving in the woods around them. Before leaving, they decided to check on the body and discovered that it was missing, surrounded by abundant tracks, implying that it was the natives that carried away the creature.
What if Bigfoot, the Bottomless Snowman, and a lot of these creatures, they're interdimensional beings?
What does that mean?
They can travel in between dimensions. If you look at the 411 map of the United States of America, so it's all of the places that's been reported of missing people,
Okay.
and all the hot spots all over the states.
Yeah.
It immediately corresponds to all Bigfoot sightings ever. Line up exactly to Bigfoot sighting areas.
Really?
People think, what if Bigfoot is just maybe walking through portals?
Yeah.
Or people are walking through these portals. And that's
Bigfoot in 1953. Bigfoot in 1950. Bigfoot in 1953. They had to cut it up. You know, it looks in pretty good shape considering that it's been frozen for 65 years. This is real. Not everything in my life is a joke. This, check it out. You can see it as a run of ice on it. It has remained frozen. You can see its eyeball there. There's a lot of debris still frozen in it. So that we can see the other side. It does have ears under there. Don't really have rubber gloves on. You can see part of the ear there. You can see its eye on this side is very dehydrated and sunken in. The mouth is very strange. It's almost has like a death grin. Here you can see the other side of the face now. It's an absolutely...
You know that's true if you take psychedelics. And we know that psychedelics are produced in the brain. I can imagine a moment where you are in such a state that you could see something that you would not be able to see under normal conditions. It's not outside the realm of possibility. I'm not married to it, but it's not outside the realm of possibility. Now, if that is what we're seeing with UFOs, if what we're seeing is our future, if what we're seeing with those beings is the eventual shape that human beings will take, as evolution progresses. We become these genderless, little spindly things
Big
with giant
brains.
heads.
Yeah.
Flying spaceships with our minds. That kind of makes sense to me. If that makes sense, why wouldn't I be able to also see what we used to be, or what we could have been, or what other things used to live with us?
Researchers are to step up the plate and understand what they're really dealing with here. I mean, I've experienced this stuff, so I know in my mind anyway, some of this stuff has happened. I've interviewed people over the years. For a long time, I just threw them out with the baby water, when they told me they saw them disappear. But could all these people be lying, or could there possibly be an answer to that? And I say there's an answer to it. Like I said earlier, we don't see in all frequencies. We only see within our frequency. If these things have a way of getting out of our three-dimensional environment and into the fourth or fifth or something like that, go through the plasma field cloaking through the fourth dimension of time, and where they exist, I don't know. But I know I know that there's some really strange enigmas associated with them. I've experienced it. I've talked to too many people over the years that have experienced this.
The Bigfoot. Want to hear about the Bigfoot War of 1855?
What? Yes.
Started with the Choctaw Native Americans and the farmers in this region of Oklahoma. They noticed that a lot of food and supplies were missing from their camps, from their homes, from their farms. And so they're like, what in the world is taking our stuff? They didn't think much of it, but it continued to get worse and worse and worse until women and children started being kidnapped. And it got to a point that the Choctaws set up a hunting party, and it was led by a man named Joshua LaFleur. But with this party, there was a Choctaw warrior. His name was Hamas Tubby. But him and his 6 sons, and this is what's crazy about this, were all over 7 feet tall.
Hold on.
And they weighed 300 pounds or more. They were called the Light Horsemen because they were such good warriors on horseback, even with their stature and size.
That's awesome.
They rode for a full day to this forest, pulled out his little spyglass thing. He saw something, and he ordered the entire hunting party to
know that they aren't any kind of ape or gorilla. It's a human hybrid that people don't understand.
So did the Russians think that it exists currently?
100%.
So how are they hiding?
How are they hiding?
Yeah.
So if you think about, we don't even have the ability to do something with a DNA like whatever this is. It's
making a hybrid.
You're right.
Okay.
So something far greater than us has learned to manipulate DNA. And therein lies the reason that we haven't found a body. It can move in and out like it did through that tube at Skinwalker Ranch. And there's footage in our movie of what appears to be a Bigfoot evaporating into nothingness.
What footage is this?
That really sticks out to you?
We did a
Bigfoot story that really sticks out to you?
We did a documentary out in Washington State called Sasquatch and the Missing Man. And we went to ground zero of Wes Germer. The way he got into the topic was him and his brother went out on the mountain after their dad passed away, just kind of blow steam one night. They're just driving around and they found themselves on a logging road. And they pull off onto even more of a logging road. It's like overgrown and everything. And they're just sitting there. And then they start hearing what they thought was people walking in on them. It wasn't until whatever was behind the car growled that they realized this isn't people. And he said that the growl was so deep that they could feel it in the car. They could physically feel this growl vibrating in them. They back the vehicle out and they pull off down the road just a little bit. And Woody pulls over, their adrenaline's pumping. And there's these Bigfoot creatures that start coming out of the, not just one, many, all ranging in sizes. One was in the tree next to them. They could see the silhouette of it. And the biggest one would like march across this logging road in an aggressive way. Like almost like trying to like strut its stuff. Like, yeah, you want some of this? And another one dropped down on all four. And he said the way it crossed the road road was on all four, and it didn't walk with its arms and legs like you would think. It literally used its fingers and its toes to walk across the road. They come out, they start talking about this story, and I was like, Wes, would you let me come out there and shoot a documentary on your story on Ground Zero? Take me there. And he's like, for you, I'll do it. And so we did it, and we went out there and we documented this journey of going to Ground Zero where this legendary story happened. And the last night we were there, we had the most activity. Like something was coming in on the RV that we drove up there. So we go out and we hear that growl.
Your earliest post-European contact story that anybody can really find that directly has to do with the state of Ohio. It was in 1865 or 1869, Gallipolis, Ohio. There was a wild man attack in Gallipolis that was taken seriously enough for like the sheriff to round up a posse to go look for the wild man. There's actually a reference. Daniel Boone had his own Bigfoot encounter just over the Ohio-Kentucky border near a place called Mount Sterling, Kentucky. So there's a history of that, and if you think about all the animals that we sort of pushed out of Ohio, things like mountain lion and elk, and I mean, white-tailed deer were extirpated from the state at one point. Beaver was extirpated from the state. All of those things are back. So there's plenty of room for something like an undiscovered bipedal hominid to live.
I think Bigfoot is blurry. That's the problem. It's not the photographer's fault. Bigfoot is blurry. And that's extra scary to me because there's a large out-of-focus monster roaming the countryside. Run, he's fuzzy. Help.
This is in Monroe County in Michigan this year, 2025. A father and his son, they're fishing in the woods. They start hearing some sound, hear the brush rattle, and then they just hear a thump. They say they literally see like a shadow fall over 10 feet out of the tree. Then they see it ascending the hill. This all takes place in about 10 seconds. This is funny, but they describe what they saw as a hairy humanoid ape-like thing, and they said with a huge buttocks, and it disappeared. But I've never heard of like Bigfoot stories out of Michigan. And so I started looking into, there's a national forest where this happens, a Native American forest. Maybe I'll pop it up on the screen. But I looked up the Native American tribe that used to operate in that area. They have this oral tradition of the 7 grandfathers. At some point in the history, there is a child on a spirit quest. He's trying to find his manhood. So he has this encounter and encounters 7 grandfathers is how the language is used, who are represented by 7 animals. And so there's a bison, a turtle, an eagle, a bear, a wolf, a beaver, and then a Bigfoot they call the Kitchisabe. But the story goes, it represents standing tall and like honesty in their oral tradition. The word Sabe translates in their, I think it's Ojibwe is how you say the name of their people, but it translates to giant. In some traditions I was able to read, they're closer to the creator, a giant that goes between.
If it was all that I got, it would have never been proven as Bigfoot. Here's one of the photographs. This looks like an artist's drawing, but it's not. It's actually a photograph. I just had to crank up the contrast and brightness and saturation so you could have a good look and see his eyes and his nose and his fur. And if it